Hi everybody, I'll come out of hiding a little early again. That's right, we're doing another stream, third stream of the day. We're gonna be texturing this this subway car. I was serious when I said it was a speedrun. I've got a couple settings for things to mess with. Settings, system advanced, max render threads. We're gonna go 16. 20 threads. Memory tracking. I think we're good. Cool. That should hopefully help some stuff later on. You guys are going to get to see some advanced techniques, which will be exciting. And we're going to get this R1 through 9 subway car, or R9 really, specifically. We're going to get this thing looking beautiful, which I'm pumped about. So a minute left, we'll give people another minute to kind of arrive. We'll see what happens. This one it's a little later than the usual audience, but we only have 7 people here. Spread the word. Still loading, yeah. Do I have professional asset making experience? Depends on what you just find. I don't know if there's a such thing as professional asset making experience, but I'm a professional motion graphics artist and I do 3D art as well. So, kind of. I have done work on commission for City Skylines. I was kind of an in-house 3D artist for a little while at Sidewalk Labs, which was fun. And I have professional work doing 3D work. So yeah, 3 today. Wow, that's right. This is the asset creation speedrun. I'm trying to get this whole damn thing done, or as close to done as I can. It's almost 9, so here it's time to see what we're working on. Excellent. My stuff is really good. Thank you. Thank you. Hi everybody, again, I'm back. Third stream of the day. Third different playlist of the day. We're gonna see if I can finally do a stream with decent music. But yeah, here's where we left off. We have a beautiful model from the first stream. It is UV'd beautifully on the second stream. You can see I've had to warp it a little bit to be able to fit our 4:1 ratio texture, which I've brought out into Photoshop here. And we'll be good. Little res on the texture side, so slightly lower texel density than my 100 that I usually try to do. I could boost it up a little bit, but that would be going beyond the 2048 texture. I think going any larger would be rough. What is my profile picturing? The U? It's like a subway letter U. New York City subway U. If there was a U train. Oop, not stream music, I don't need that. I'm just going to open up R9 because this stream is going to be where we pick a paint job, which will be cool. So I think, does this site have a paint job? I really love this full green, but obviously that's kind of the most boring thing we could pick, just green and black, but also, hey, you know, maybe that's okay. Maybe something really quick and easy is okay. Let's see. Because I don't like the olive. I like the kind of rich, darker green with the city of New York. If anybody knows what's up and has a pick, something that they like from these, you should be good. R9, so let's search there. Oh, because this is R1. I'm interested in R9s. And R9. Modifier Charlie Pole. Albany. Oh, neat. I didn't know that. Okay. QJ. Last card, the iron flip numerically. Okay, we'll have to see. I personally really like this all green one that the museum has 4 of with City of New York on the side. I think that's a really nice look. So I think I'm going to be going for that one. I think it's kind of the most classic. So this dark green I think is our goal. So here is our texture sheet. I'm probably going to be making a couple adjustments to stuff. Like this is a big mess. Shoot. You know what? Hold on. I'm sorry. I thought I'd prepared this earlier in an acceptable way. I'm going to do this. Apply. Close. Alright, so now I have a higher fidelity one. I usually don't do this because it's rough, but there's so much detail and stuff in here that... you know what? I can't do it in 4K. That's too much. That's too high a resolution. I need to fix some of this first. So I'm going to soft select these to try to straighten it out to fix it. I'm okay with a little warping on these. This is just the chain in the front. So I need a little warping. Hopefully that'll clear stuff up. That stuff's all generically colored. The problem is when I'm this tight in here, I can't tell what anything is. So I need to do a little bit of spacing out more than I thought. I'm just not really used to working with maps that are this non-square. So I need to scoot this over a little bit. Just try to space stuff out a little bit more. You're the top and bottom of that chain, right? Yeah. So you can actually go here. Because these two don't really need anything separating them because they're the same material. You need to be separated. Cool. I'm just going to modify some of these. Now I can grab all these again. Image, UV snapshot, 512 by 2048. UV export, apply, overwrite. So I can do that. Delete the UV export from there, and bring it back. Obviously, place it correctly. There we go. So that's cleaned up some of this slightly. It's still not great. Got room at the top, but none at the bottom down here. I was hoping the UV part of this stream would be done, but I guess not. Apply. Overwrite. Back to here. Delete that again. There we go. So that's opened up a little space in there. Not enough. Not as much as I would have hoped. Because like this has to be green. And it's like touching stuff that has to be different colors. And that's going to be a problem. So we'll handle that later. Anyway, it's time to get started. So I don't know if you could see, because again, I'm doing this all this work at 4K and then downscaling it, but I have a few folders here, which is my usual strategy. Base, livery, details, and weathering. So first, I just do a base color blocking. And I usually do this in sort of grayscale almost, like to get the metal looking and feeling right, I will do the metal stuff in this. So base color will be like base paint. Base paint. Then I have like base painted metal, or base black paint. And then this is all pre-weathering, pre-anything. Base bare metal. And that'll be for stuff like the wheels. And then I'm trying to think what other stuff. base underbody. So this will be for stuff that doesn't get hit with like a gloss black. So base paint is going to be the easiest one to start with. So that's literally the whole body of the car, just the entire damn thing. So we can do all of this. Yep, just like that. So you can be a little sloppy with this, though I try to keep things clean always. Those are painted. And then later I will take this matte and this kind of base gray, and I will turn it into, only that 1 pixel gap there. That I know is painted. I don't know what this bar is, but I hope it's painted. I think that is actually. Yes, thank God. So really, actually, base paint, I can pretty much grab all of this. Some will have base bare metal on top, so I'll just move that over here. But for base paint, that side of the car, the roofs, I think, on this were green as well, thankfully. Yeah, really, I could be doing this with just baking, but I prefer to kind of have the workflow I'm used to with my Photoshop kind of color controls and everything is important to me to maintain. So I'm just going to do a little tracing here. These two islands get pretty close, so I'll just be a little careful. And then I kept everything clear down there, even though we were tight on space. And that will let me do that. And now I can go up to the top and select. So that gets me my whole car body, which of course is silver. So let me save this. R9 texture. And now this is still all done with the default material in Maya, which of course I don't really want. So let's throw a blend on there. Blend gets it a little shiny, which is nice. And thankfully with Maya, I can just drag the PSD straight in, which is awesome. So I just do that, grab the color, it's nice and shiny, and I can grab that, assign existing, blend 1. And then I just need to make sure that that's selected. You can see I basically colored it the exact same default color, but we've got the metal, and that stuff is a slightly different paint color than the base stuff, which will be different. So we're just going to keep blocking away at this. Base paint. So this stuff is all painted, base painted, or painted the same color as the base. All this anti-climber stuff. So we can just do this. Try to keep it a little neat. That's an underbody component, so we'll make sure we avoid that by grabbing our lasso, I don't know. We can just do that. Save it out, and I think there we go. So that's now all of our base paint, actually. I can double check this. Looks like those stair tread things. It's a little hard to tell, but it looks like they're just kind of a filthy version of that color. So where did those end up? That's this. So let me just do base paint on that, which should be good. So base black paint. I try very hard never to use full black or full white on anything. Only if ever on paint schemes. And full black, almost never. Ooh, that's a good question, actually. This little handle. So the anti-climbers on this one actually are the same green. Shoot. On another one I'd looked at, they were black. So we're back to base paint, it turns out. They really weren't messing around when they painted these things green, it turns out. So I'll just do that. And we'll move on to base underbody first then. As it turns out, there's less black. This is just a total dip job. So underbody, we start out pretty simply by doing the bottom of our car, and you can see already that will have some effect if we just save it out. And there we go, you can see. So now the bottom is darker. We'll deal with the shininess and everything later. What settings am I using in Photoshop? I think just default. I really don't know. I'm just using the default workspace. I've turned shapes to draw into pixels instead of anything else, just because it's annoying for me to have to do anything else. And I just kind of draw like this in Photoshop. So because I try to keep these layers as careful as I can, but because base metal is on top, I can take a couple shortcuts here. So base underbody, the coupler picks up the underbody texture. Really everything on the bottom here does. The coupler, these air tanks, that part actually doesn't. So the trucks, I've seen the trucks as like a gloss black. Which I'll have to see. I'm kind of liking that dark gray. I think I want to go a little darker. So one really useful thing about the way I'm doing this, where it's all just color blocking and everything. So I can just do this, grab a color overlay, darken it up some. There we go. And you can see I've darkened it quite a bit. That might be too much. Hey, K-Pen, how are you? I'll just lighten it very slightly. So it's still substantially darker than it was. And I can just right-click rasterize layer style. And now it's darker. Which, yeah, that's looking right. So I'm going to use this color on the trucks and everything as well. I had a base black paint, but I think that this really works best for that. You can see it's the same kind of grimy dark gray on all this stuff down here, which is really perfect. I'll hit it with the grime color stuff later. I'm pretty good as well. This shoe seems a little more modern. I wouldn't be surprised if it was replaced at some point. Let's see, there's this weird detail on one side of the car that I'm not sure about. Oh, God, excuse me. You can tell it's been a long day streaming. So you can really see it's kind of monochromatic down here. Again, we'll get some of the color variation stuff a little later when we work into the details and everything. But do some of that base underbody. So I don't always do everything the same color in the base stuff. So I do want to go a little bit lighter for the traction motors in there, just to provide something brighter, slightly brighter to look at. So this is all my traction motor equipment, which I can get. And now I'll get the darker again out for the, what the heck? There we go. So I'll get the darker out for, that's the leaf spring. This is the truck frame, which I'll get a little darker. And then all of this is all truck frame. This is a big chunk of the texture is devoted to the trucks here. We'll do this. We'll do this. Big gap over here. We can put something in there later. So the model is actually not quite done in a weird sort of a way. So almost everything's done. And once I finish the texture, I'm going to go back and add some stuff in these gaps, like numbers, the text on the side, and I'll billboard those. So I'll create a 2D face and add those to what I'm doing. What is that on the texture? It's something to do with the trucks, I'm sure. Whoops. Is something really internal? Oh no, it's that springy thing on the top. Cool. Wait, that's not it. It's this. What's this on the texture? Ah, that's that wood beam. Okay. So that is something that actually will not get base underbody, because I want that to be at its core like a red. All of these will. This is spring pieces and things. This is truck frame. And actually all of this all the way to down here. And even in this I want. This piece I don't quite know what it is right now. So there we go. So you can already see it's getting nice and dark down there. What is this piece? Ah, that's the edge of that. Okay, so that I do want to have be the same gray. So you can really tell it's kind of coming along pretty quickly. In terms of base underbody, this is basically all just like same stuff materially, if that makes sense. So all these pieces are similar or are painted or whatever materially. So later when I do other maps, this will all get the same specular. And the specular is the texture that decides how shiny something is. Wow, it's like the end of Watch Dogs 2, which I want to play again. It's a good game. Cool. So that's that. Wheels. So the wheels I will honestly steal. So I can open up my my Interurban. And I do this all the time with wheels. Wheel. And I think I want it one more pixel tall. Try to get it as centered as I can. So I'll save that. And there we go. So we have our wheels. And they look pretty nice down there. They're a little shiny on the edges. We should be good. So we're almost done with the color blocking already. Thank God this thing is so simple. Oh, whoops. Let me kill that. So let's go with monitor. I have an old Dell 4K monitor. Kind of my nice thing here. I do that. And then also I'm going to grab this flange. So we can just do that. And whoops. Paint it onto flange. Great. Cool. And that's it color blocked, I think. I think there's no... Oh no, there's a little bit on there. Okay, so base paint is that. Third row. Warning paint, electric warning paint, which we'll check. Sorry. Helping out Miles with some City Skylines trouble. Cool. Phew. Sorry about that. Electric warning paint. So now I want to grab a sort of slightly worn looking kind of danger red for some of these components. Like that beam there. This section definitely, the beam I might not have be that color. And you get like a silvery. Because you're a bare metal. So let me just paint that onto the base bare metal. Oh yeah, the flange should really be on base bare metal. It does not need its own layer. So I was really thinking there'd be more bare metal on this thing before realizing that they literally just painted every square inch of it dark. But that should be good for now. So with those done, we get a nice kind of pop of color. Oops, I didn't duplicate. Whoops. Ha. I did not duplicate the truck details. Whoops. From side to side. Negative. No, sorry. 0. There we go. So now I can duplicate that and 180. There we go. So that's nice. I don't quite think it's perfectly accurate because I see some like red on some of these. But if I look at this, this is the car I'm doing. Looks like the red is almost gone. Again, these are slightly different third rail shoes, but it's actually bare wood. So in order to get an extra color in there to make it look nice, I'll do like a bare wood looking color, a nice tan. These are wood because they have to like insulate the third rail electric stuff from the rest of the car. There we go. Nice and fresh wood down there, wood blocks. So awesome. What am I making? I'm making a 1930s, 1940s New York City subway car that they still run for the museum stuff. Yeah. Cool. So that's the base done already. It's fast, which is awesome. So that's good. I'm going to grab base black paint is actually empty because I'm not doing with black. So now I'm just going to duplicate my base paint into the liveries folder because it's useful to have this, but also I would like to see it in the correct dark green. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to grab green. I'm going to find my nice kind of rich, really nice dark green to paint this car. So I'll save it out. There we go. I think it might be a little too dark. A lot of times I'll just pull from a photo. Yeah, so I was a little off. Let me grab, I don't want to grab full sun or full shade. Neither is quite right. Let's do this and just darken it a little bit. Let's do 25. There we go. That's more like it. So we got our nice dark green. It's awesome. Yeah. So we got a nice dark green, and it's really coming along here. So we got our livery set up. I'll take care of other parts of that. So livery will also get some text. I'll probably do a car number and Metropolitan Subway or something. I'll add those little placards because you can see in the image we need to do, we got text here, we got text up here, we got the marker lights, local express. So there's a handful of text on the side that I should really do as a thing, or as billboards to make them a little higher res, because this is very small. When you get into it, to actually paint this, it would only be like 15, 20 pixels tall, and it'd be really obvious that it's very pixelated, especially for like the end sign. Yeah, so that's what the plan is. So now to do details. Details, what I call details, is basically everything. So I'm going to bring in my plan, set the blend mode to multiply, which is super useful. I usually stick the reference right up at the top. And so I'm not interested in doing that part, but I can now line up a corner with this, and I actually have to shrink it, which is rare. I usually have to grow it because my reference is usually pretty low res and my textures are pretty high res. But this one is a little bit the opposite of that. My reference is not, or my texture for this is not an intensely high resolution. So that's one, oops, not necessarily that. Perfect. Awesome. So now I've got my my reference in, and sometimes this is fun. You can just save it like that, and you can already see some of the detail painted on, which I think looks very cool. Obviously, it doesn't really work on the ends and things, but like, yep, this is it. This is what it'll look like, which will be cool. So what about the windows? Yeah, windows are one of the detail layers, so I'll be working on that. Says, do I need to do any Transport Fever 2 assets? No, I don't. And I probably won't. We'll see. I don't know. So, windows. We have a couple types of windows. We've got these inset ones that don't move. We've got these end ones that don't move, but then are bolted in. Then we have these drop sash ones, which have an upper and a lower section. So we've got a little bit of thinking to do for the windows. So side static windows. So we do those. I've recently started using a much darker window color that I think looks really nice. So I'm gonna grab it from here to windows, copy my layer style, and let me just turn off my weathering here so I can grab my window color. Yeah, see, there's still something on there. Oh, that's right, material overlays. Turn off. What is still the weird color thing for that? I turned off weathering. Oh, it was the shadow. Grab from the dead center of the window to make sure. Let me paste my layer style there. Great. So now these windows are the ones in the doors. Which that's not quite. So we'll do a 3 pixel radius for that guy. These door windows to get these looking right. That seems perfect. And then I want to do something pretty big because these are pretty rounded. So that 10 pixels there is almost a perfect match. I might do 8 just because I can. Great. So now those are all the windows I need. The door windows, actually, the doors aren't textured in the spots of the door. So I'm gonna kind of scoot them out over to a fake door location over here. But I'll try to get them accurate. Let's see, 7 pixels from the side, 7 green pixels between the edge and this. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's good. Now let's grab this guy, move it to here and to here, and actually I'll delete that. So I've got those 2, and I want to basically make like a module I can repeat even if the plan is slightly off. So let me just do that. And we can save it up. And you can now see, okay, they're a little high, it seems, but also they might just be this high because these are windows designed for the doors to open up into. So with my reference on, yeah, they're correct. Looks like the bottom of these and the door windows are supposed to line up. Okay, so the issue was my door windows are low, which is fine because I placed those freehand. So what I can also do is I can rasterize my reference, and now I can grab a door out of them because I know how big my doors are, and I can start kind of yanking reference and shuffling it all over the place. So I've got that. Whoops. Aha. So there we go. That would be why my windows seemed weird. It's just because they were. They're a little wide set and they're a little bit low. So I can kind of just scoot them in. I was almost there. Just need to be scooted in 1 on each side. Hide those. There we go. You can see they're hiding up here behind some of that, and that's fine. We'll deal with that later. But yeah, we got in some windows. So the end cars have some static windows as well, or the end doors, I should say. And with this, it's probably time to start chopping up the reference even more. Because really, beyond here, between here and here, I don't need it. I don't really want it kind of down here, getting on all this junk. I don't really need it past here. So I can chop up this reference to where I need it and for where I need it and where I don't. Oops, I'm selecting the wrong Windows things. As crazy as it sounds, are there any train assets with interiors and transparent windows? Would that be possible? I haven't made any. I don't think there are any. Is it possible? Yes. Revo has this great trick with the emissive shader that he uses. I would not be surprised if he makes something with an interior soon. He's been going crazy detailed. His latest assets are absolutely gorgeous. I've actually been considering jumping into using that technique and jumping into my dome cars and making a train with a transparent dome, which I think would be really cool, like a dome car with transparency. Will I actually do that though? I have no idea. It feels bad to model something that detailed for this game. It feels almost irresponsible, if you can believe that. So what I've done, I've cut away the reference I don't need, and I'm placing the reference I do need in the right spots, and kind of trimming the stuff I don't want down so that I know what goes where. So I've got that, and I can now take the door here, and I'm actually going to move the door. I'd usually copy it out of the way, but I'm going to actually move the door and put it there. So now when I turn this off, it's still a little messy, but we should actually see pretty reasonably how this car will turn out. And I think that's pretty cool. I love the way this looks with like the hand-drawn blueprints overlaid. It's neat. I've always wanted to do like a hand-drawn looking asset, but never the time. Never had the time, that is. So I'm going to do that, and the last section of reference that I need to pull is this, which needs to come up onto this section of the roof. These little air vents up here. Let's go there. So that's it, I'm done. No, I'm just kidding. Basically, I need to trace all of this, and then I need to go, and you can see this thing is riveted like crazy. I'm going to add in all these rivets, which will really make this thing pop. So going off that and looking at this, we've got that type of window here. I think that's the same type of window in the end door. And then we've got different types of windows everywhere else, basically. So let me grab the end door now, which we can window up with what looks like, again, this is part of the reason why it's always so strange to do vintage stuff. They never use the same dimensions for things and the same sizes. So I really want to do like, yeah, if we stick with 8, that might, yeah, that'll be good. 54 by 59, that's pretty good. I think I want to stretch it a little bit wider. So I used to do that, and now I do. I used to just scoot it over, but that actually can screw up some of the curve. So I'll move it first, and now if I turn that off, there we go. We got our end window in. Hand-drawn is such a cool look. I love it in architecture. Yeah, it probably would not translate into this game very well. I'll be opening a few windows every time you take the holiday train. That'd be fun, but again, if I were to open the windows, it'd be really strange because there'd be nothing inside. Cab static windows. So the cab windows, basically, I'm doing these slightly separately because these seem to be square, or squarer. And kind of fleshed in. Good, it is glass on each side. Great. What's that? They've got slight, it's a different window mount. I might still do it rounded, but only like a 3 pixel radius or something really tight and small to make them still seem very square and like they, especially contrasting with like these windows on the side, which are definitely rounded. So I use layer styles a lot to get this thing to look right. There we go. See, it's really comes to life when you add the windows. A lot of times I wait way too long to do the windows, and I just end up hating it. So lower windows now. Paste the layer style. Turn this back on. So the windows and things, I'm doing them all this way because they all have different depths. And different depths means that when I have to do normal maps, I'll need to really be careful with what I'm doing. So I'm being careful now, I guess, to make sure all the windows that are mounted at different depths get different textures, get different layers, so that when it comes time to do the normal map, I can just take these layers straight up and convert them. This window here is going to be a little unique because it has the roll sign. So it's going to be a little bit shorter. And that's good for the lower windows here. This is going to look like one of those slumber coaches, like sleeping cars, or those weird British like stagger step double-deckers. But now, because I think they're the same dimensions, I can grab my upper windows now, and I can just shuffle these into place. Yeah, perfect. That's great. Everywhere except right here, which of course is getting the roll sign instead. So that's all the windows, and it's looking nice. I don't know what you guys think. Hopefully you agree, because I think it looks nice. But it's coming to life already, and like that's so early for this too. Should really always do the windows first. But yeah, so now I love these pressed in elements here and on the doors, so it's time to do some sunken detail. So the way I do this is really similar to how I do the windows. So I'm gonna basically paint a grayscale, start painting components of a grayscale height map. These pieces are not pressed in tremendously far. I think these had 8, so, excuse me. Oops. Yeah, it looks like 8. So I'm gonna trace that out to make sure it's the same, and I'm just gonna shuffle it down until it fits. But you'll see, like, wait, I don't actually want big gray blocks here. So I do a little bit of an inner shadow, really narrow, like 1 or 2 pixels tops, a little bit of an outer glow, and that gives a little bit of like simulated shine almost, like where it would be bending in. I'm gonna turn it way down. And then I take the fill and do an overlay. So when I turn off the reference, you can see that the glow is probably a little strong, but it just darkens the base color just a little bit. This is something I picked up a little while ago that's super useful. I just want to do it. It should just be like the slightest little highlight there. I actually think the windows have it a little too bright, but I'll handle that later. So if we take a look at the one I did, you can really see that even though it's flat, it looks pressed in. In some angles, it looks like really nicely pressed in. Yeah, the edge glow on the windows is too strong. Let me take care of that. Outer glow, it's like 35, yeah, it needs to be at like 15% tops. So I can copy my layer style from that, and I can paste it across all these guys. Okay, and I can clear my layer style on these and paste it across these. What the? Copy my layer style from that and paste it. What? Did I somehow undo that or not save it? I guess so. 15, okay. Copy layer style. Paste. There we go. Much subtler. Yeah, that's better. Cool. So with Sunken Detail, again, that's kind of the trick for it. So let me do that and just copy it here to make sure it's lined up perfectly below the window, which it was. And now that I know I have that, I can pull it across to both. Not quite, whoops. Pull it across to both. So I was 342 over, and that's perfect. So 342 and 0. And now this should hopefully be the same. We'll try 341. 341 was correct-ish. Maybe it's really wider. Did I screw that up? Whoops. I did screw it up. This is something that also happens a lot with my stuff. I will make stupid little mistakes like that. So my gray blobby that I've been using everywhere is 1 pixel too wide, because of course it is. So let me just undo all of that. And yeah, of course, now I can totally see it, clear as day. It's slightly wide. There we go. Perfect. Just just want to make sure I didn't undo too much. 177. No, so I need to bring it over by 176. Whoops. 176, great. Phew. All right, solved. How do I add detail to a plain model like dirt, grime, etc.? I will show you, because I'm really proud of my new technique. I really only started the new technique with Presidio Bay. 21 pixels up, so 21 back down. And over again. Great. Cool, and now we have that sunken detail. And it's looking awesome. These cars are all so weird with all their different, like, bumps and dents and whatever, but I love them. I love them. So that's great. Now I believe these had 3 pixels. I'm confused as to what that little door thing is because they're super smooth here. So I'm assuming that that's just an irrelevant sort of detail. Which, hey, that's fine. That just means I can avoid including it. So let me grab that. And now I will copy it over to here. And now I will grab them, turn the reference back on, bring them down by 1, and then copy them down by 1. And it looks like the bottom ones are taller, so I will stretch them down some. And there we go. Weird pockmarked looking strange thing. So that's where we're at now. You know what? I'll do that now. So here's how I add dirt and grime. Like to mesh, combine, edit, delete all my type history. So, a little scary, but I have brought my mesh up here. Now, I need to go back and well. I was hoping to get to avoid this. I recently changed from a student version of Maya to a Maya Indie license, which is much more appropriate for what I'm doing. But I've got some old files that I need to bring in, and of course that's going to forever taint my the save with the educational license. So you see, oh my god, all this extra junk. I don't need it. I can really trim away almost everything. Delete, 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 delete. Don't need the LOD. Don't need any of this. I don't need any of the meshes, actually. So I can delete them all. Actually, I don't quite want to delete them all, because that's the size this was made for. So I'll delete everything except for that. You, though, let me hide my original car. Delete all my history. So I don't need that anymore. Okay. So now I want to bring this down to where it should be, just right on the ground, in line with the blueprint. All right. Place my pivot at the center. And scale this up until the gauge and the width match, or the gauge matches. The width won't match because it's a different car. Cool. Now I can hide this, and this is my car here. Modify, I'm going to freeze my transformations. So this chassis is going to be what I use for baking. So I can go to lighting and shading, assign a single V-Ray bake option to my selection, and it now has a V-Ray bake option. Cool. Now I can assign an existing material. And we'll do the ambient occlusion bake first. So this should hopefully this won't crash my screen. Oh, it's because I don't have my baking settings on. So I bake all my texture stuff now. It's the thin door metal warping from the frame. I don't quite know what that's in reference to. You might be a little behind, sorry. Or I'm not aware of what we're talking about. So I prefer bucket, random mass disabled, good. Common, baking engine settings, texture baking. So, with V-Ray here, Render. Oh, whoops. That's right. I need to set my scale. I don't want 960 by 540. I want... Oh, man. By 1024 by 4096. So I always bake these at double resolution, which of course is going to kick my ass when it comes to rendering this, because it's the equivalent of 2K. But yeah, so let me render. And now I'm rendering the ambient occlusion bake. So this, and in kind of relation to how everything was textured, or was UV'd, this is going to map shadows onto my... okay, I've seen the weird sound. Cool. This is going to map shadows onto the mesh. Some places it doesn't work, like the wheel, so I'll remove those later. But basically everywhere else, judging with how I've managed to model this, it'll work. So I'm just sitting here and jumping through, and you can really see my my new processor in particular. I'm loving this thing for these renders. It's flying through. So it's almost done. Hopefully the stream's still working for you guys. I left my processor. I got a 10-core processor, so I left it 2 cores to stream on, and it uses 8 cores for this. So that's great. I've done my AO bake, so B division, revamp, R9, R9, AO bake. Save. So that's ambient occlusion done. Now all I have to do is assign the existing material, Dirt Crevice bake. So this is very similar to the ambient occlusion bake, but it's the opposite, and it's a little bit unique. So this bakes white onto crevices and kind of ramps off the white down towards black. So where it's very flat and there aren't crevices, it will be normal. It'll be black. And where there are crevices nearby or things that are very close, it'll be white. You can sort of see it on the front here. This is really useful to me. So this is like dirt crevices. This is like where the automatic washer wouldn't get in to get the dirt out. So this is where you'd have to like scrub and get in really deep. So this is a really useful texture bake for this, because it means like the roof stays pretty clean on some sides, the sides stay pretty clean, but like really the nitty gritty stuff, the small stuff, the underbody stuff, the detailed stuff, you can see it here coming in on the front, where you can see like there's dark nearby, but once you get in towards the door, towards the mounts of the chains, you can really see that that's like white, which means it'll I can use that as a mask to help with dirt. You can see really here, this is really nice. So because it's underneath the stair steppies here, it's good. Oh, I've just noticed a little error. Ha! Look at that. This one's a little too high. Maybe this one isn't too high and everything else is too low. I'm gonna assume it's that. Hold on. We're gonna have to rebake. And I'll rebake my AO. So this is where this baking process starts to get frustrating. Oops, that one's still good. Is that very frequently I notice little mistakes or bad UVs or something, and those always come back to bite me. So that's fine now. Now I'm just gonna bring back this other smaller model. I don't need my reference anymore, so I can kill that. Let me grab these and these, move my my modifier. There we go. Great. So that's fixed. Now to go back to my baking car, even. I'm just going to save up. Back to this, and we're going to rebake. I don't need to rebake the whole thing, but because I didn't do it already, I can just do it. So we'll watch together again. So you can really feel my computer spinning up. If I go to Task Manager, you can see, you'll probably be able to see exactly which cores on this new processor are handling. Oh boy, the whole thing's pegged 100%. So I'm using every last ounce of this 10900K. Hopefully I'm not lagging still. Not that too much is going on. But yeah, every ounce of this processor is being used to render out this this dirt crevice map. So yeah. This is another good example. So you can see here, we have the inside section of the pantograph gate, those little bars on the front. And then here we have the outside section of it, and it's black because the outside section is not really next to anything. But the inside section has the bars near it, it has the wall of the cab near it, it has a whole bunch of stuff near it. So it absolutely blacks itself, or it absolutely goes and looks white. You can see now these are all the same, which is correct. How long did it take to fully construct the 3D model of the subway car? That was on my stream this morning, my time. I did the subway car in 3.5 hours or so, and then it was about 2.5 hours to do the UV, and now I'm working on the texture. I've been going for an hour, and we've got the base, and we're working on some of the details and the bakes. So this is one of 4 or 5 bakes that I do now to get a lot of detail taken care of. This is the second slowest, I think. I do the AO bake, which we already did, but need to redo. I do this one, which is the Dirt Crevice Map. I do an edge highlight one, which really it's just, again, sort of the inverse of this, where it finds points, like corners, sharp corners. I'll explain more when we get there, but it highlights sharp corners, and I can throw that on top and use that. And it just gives a little bit of a highlight to edges and corners and things like that, and it's really nice. I think that's like, I used to paint dirt and it was fine, but now I don't paint it, and there are places I used to have to like toil away trying to find detail for and trace edges and do all this stuff to make it look like it wasn't forgotten geometry. And now I can just run this bake and it's fine and it's awesome. So let me save this out, jump back, subway trains, B division, revamp, R9. This is the R9 Dirt Crevice Bake. Dirt Crevice Bake. Save. Great, that's 2. Whoops, grabbed the wrong Maya window there. Let me redo the AO bake while we're at it. We'll just chug away at this. So it works well. I've experimented with some other stuff. So these are, obviously, they all just simulate the car kind of in a vacuum, which is not the most realistic. So obviously they never just float in the air like this. They've got other cars next to them. They've got, the ground, which produces a lot of dirt, but I handle that with other maps. So you'll see that later. So we're taking care of this bake now. I'm gonna grab a glass of water. Right here. And yeah, this is sort of a technique. It's newer. I started doing some bakes on the Better Planes Pack revamps were really some of the first. Actually, I think I did AO bakes. I've been doing ambient occlusion bakes like this for a long time, but doing more bakes is newer. I think I've got some slightly unreleased Presidio-based stuff that really has these. That's really where I started doing a lot of bakes. So this is the edge highlight one, which you can see here as well. It's black and it just traces where there are edges to things. So where there are edges and sharp corners and stuff, it traces out and it'll provide a really nice little highlight to all those locations, which again, exactly what I would want and what you might want. And it's really useful for giving a little bit of like pop to edges to make it look like either reflections or sometimes I'll add like a gray to this to make it look like a little bit of wear, like paint just chipping off the corner of something instead of the flat section. But yeah, you can see it kind of taking care of the truck. We get the nice outline. It's all perfectly accurate to the mesh and everything you'd hope. I don't know what that is. I keep seeing pieces of the mesh that I do not recognize. I assume it has something to do with the truck. I don't know what the heck could be that shape. And done. Excellent. So I can save this guy out as my edge highlight, and then it's time to do the most intensive bake, which is one that takes the most time. So I'll have some time for like a more formal Q&A, I guess, after I take care of this. So I'm gonna not look at chat for a little while, just so I can get these all prepped and ready to go. So that's the edge highlight. So now, it's time for the dirt catch. So the dirt catch is my sort of more general weathering pass. And to do that, I'm actually going to open up my interactive renderer, which, yeah, no lights in this scene, I know. So this is going to sit here and just keep trying to render stuff while I work. So V-Ray, I would like a V-Ray rectangle light. It's pointing back, which I don't want. So there we go. You can start to see a little bit of stuff coming in on the render. Hopefully YouTube compression's not killing it too bad. But this is a rectangular area light for this. So I'm using this to kind of map out a dirt spray from the bottom. It's very dim right now. So intensity, we can whack that up to like 500, something really bright. The diagram is it's a little iffy right now. Oh crap, that's why. When I imported, it screwed some stuff up. What is happening here? Oh, that's right. My dirt catch that I import has it's kind of normal map built in, which I do not want. There we go. That should fix stuff. So I get some nice gradient stuff, and you can really see kind of this is where dirt gets sprayed onto this subway car. So I can really kind of fine tune it, and if I don't want it to like continue up the sides, you can make it a little narrower. If I want it to continue up the front and back, I can make it a little wider. But usually I'll try to keep things pretty consistent around the car. And when I want to do extra stuff, I will duplicate the light and add it somewhere else. So this light, I want to have light up the front. You can see it's very glitchy because I've got some, the front is lit up, but the back isn't. So when I do this, I will have to match the other side. So I want this to this is dirt that would spray on the end of the car when it's moving. So I'm just gonna kind of stick it like this. Definitely a little bit on the end there. Cool, and now I can duplicate it. Translate, I wanna go negative that in Z and rotate 180. And that now solves it because both the ends of the car are being lit identically with the same light, same position, and everything. So same position relatively speaking. So this has lit up the ends. I don't want them to be this bright though, so I can grab this. Instead of 500, we'll do 100. And we'll make sure it's 100 on both, which is good. And now a little bit of wear on the top is important as well. So you can just do that and center it up nicely here. And you can see it affecting the render already. Pull it down, the closer it is, the sharper the angles are, the farther it is, the more diffuse. But because this is sort of just like grime from the tunnel, I would like it over the whole thing. And a little wide. This is just kind of, normal rooftop soot and grime, but it's really, really dim. So like 30 maybe. You see there's some stripes on it just because of the way the reflections work. Which is a little annoying, so I'll usually just tweak it to try to remove some of those stripes. But obviously I don't want it to flow down the sides too much. Thankfully the fall off seems to be catching it pretty early. So yeah, so that's generally it. You can see some stuff casts little dirt shadows, some stuff picks it up more. You can see it most on the bottom of these, and that's all kind of exactly what I want. And that gets me a nice level of grime on the right spots. I'm also going to continue to duplicate it, and these get pretty intense. So I'm going to duplicate this one. And I want one that's nice and low and focused really kind of primarily on the wheels of this thing. So all my windows are in the way now, but something that's like almost, it's a rectangular light. So light comes from all of these. So I'm really gonna like tuck it in close to the bottom of the car. And this is like what they don't wash, I guess. So I'll do that. Now I want negative that and negative 90 there. So that should now be identical there, which should help the trucks and everything get lit nicely. I think that's good. So now that I do that, I can grab this and click a proper render. So it's a proper CPU bake render. And this one takes a little while. So, yeah, this one takes a little while. So we're doing some bakes. Yeah, we're doing some bakes. Sorry, I gotta check my phone real quick. So while this renders, I think hopefully you can see the incredibly slow progress of these things stepping through. So feel free, like as this works through, I'll answer some questions if you want. I've got to do a whole bunch of these things, so ask whatever you need about whatever. I just need to catch up on some messages real quick, and then I'll be back and can answer some questions. Excellent. Cool. Awesome. Great to start up. This is high level. It's not that high level. I'm looking at your profile. Are you Gray Flame? If you are, I have. I want to reach out to you for a commission pretty soon for Presidio Bay. So let me know if you're up for that. What exactly is a bake? Asks Vincent Jacobs. So a bake is where I use the render engine to kind of annoying. The only word I can think of is bake. It's like a bake is a bake. But yeah, Grace just said it really well. It's taking real-time 3D data and baking it onto a 2D texture. So basically, I'm taking simulated lighting data. Each one of these red rectangles here, like red outlined rectangles, is a simulated light. And I'm taking all of that data and for every pixel on the texture, it's calculating how the light falls onto that pixel, onto that section of geometry, and it writes that to a texture. So I'm writing this all into a texture file that I can use later. So that's called baking. I don't quite know why. Maybe it's because my computer is baking itself right now. Under, again, 100% load off over 20 cores, which is crazy. Anyway, you are grateful I started traffic. You forgot Google Update's profile is on YouTube. Aha! Excellent! I'll reach out to you. I'm imagining Discord's probably best, but we have some stuff we'd like to ask from you, if that would be okay. We'd love your help with Presidio Bay stuff. Cool. She said, he's back again, let's go. Yeah, I'm trying to see how much of this I can do in one day, because I had time. It's 10. I don't think I'll finish the whole thing, but I'll probably stream another hour and a half, maybe. Once the bakes are done, like that's a big chunk of texturing that's kind of taken care of for me, which rocks. Does the LD mesh need to be done before it can go in game? I assume no. Kind of. You can import it without an LED mesh and take a look at it, but I will not release anything again without an LED mesh. So I do think you need it. It's really easy to make. My LEDs take me 5 minutes or less, pretty much always. because really, and this might be me just because I play on ultra settings or whatever, but zooming out, you're already zoomed so far out. I know a lot of people spend a lot of time making really detailed LOD models and making sure they're really accurate. You're zoomed so far out. I will do the LOD for this in 150 triangles or less. The trucks are gonna be, I'll take a cube, I will delete the center so it's 2 parallel faces, and I will squish them to make them upside down trapezoids. And I will use another bake and bake an alpha and bake a texture onto those. And that's it. And then I'm done. Like, I'll do that and I'll be like, great, it's done. So this will basically be like a box, straight line, maybe vertical here, then like a peak in the middle, box, like very slight details, almost nothing, all 2D, almost all 2D, just keep it really low detail. Now this is almost over. I can't believe how fast this is now. How long did this take? 5 minutes. This, I've had some bakes of these take 40 minutes to do on my old computer. That now just took 5. I can't believe it. Oh, I genuinely can't believe it. I was getting ready to like waffle on for a long time. So this is the dirt catch bake, and I'll save it out. Cool, so my bakes are done. If you want to see an LOD, I did have my, sorry. There you go. So that's the subway car looking good. So if you want to see a different LOD model, I was talking about this on one of the earlier streams today. This is the main mesh for my state-of-the-art car slash R46. I think just the state-of-the-art. I think I'm going to tune it up pretty substantially for the R46. But that's the state-of-the-art car. Normal mesh. This is my LOD for it. And that's like, wow, it's different. These should probably be softened to help the light catch better. But like, you know, it is so low detail. There's 128 triangles. You can see there's almost nothing here. It's chopped in half just to help the automatic UV layout system work a little bit better. Soften that again too. But really, the thing is, when I get to here already, and you could probably see it even better, there's no difference. You could barely tell the difference, only when I'm looking like really deeply, intensely at the bottom undercarriage. But that's always covered up by track anyway, so it doesn't matter. So, like, by the time you get out here, this is where the game switches to LOD. So it basically doesn't matter. So LOD models do not take me that long. Cool. So I make so many trees don't have to bother with LODs. I'm just bad at them, get too detailed. You really don't have to. Like, the LOD for this is going to be so simple. Yeah. I hate 4K tries for random objects. Yeah, for real. What's the music in the background? Everybody's asking for the music in the playlist. This is literally something I just grabbed 2 albums off Epidemic Sound 5 minutes before the stream started. It's almost over, so thank you for reminding me. So I'll have to restart it. But it's literally just two albums. I think one's called like Jazz Backgrounds, and the other's called Tutorial Music or something. And I was like, oh god, my last playlist didn't work very well. And it had a bunch of weird music, so I need a new one quick. And that's what I did. Cool, so, subway trains, B Division, Revamp, R9. So, I've got all these bakes, all 4. And I'll bring them in. And you guys have seen how it looks. It's pretty flat. I bring them all into weathering. AO bake is the top, and I'll turn off these for now. So the AO bake, if I set the blending mode to multiply, you can see it just adds the shadows on top of everything. So I go here, I've got a crappy ambient occlusion. So you can see it's all very flat, and then I click it and load the AO, and you get a lot of nice baked kind of depth into stuff. Some places where it shouldn't be, like the wheels. If I pull the wheel out, you'll see it's like glitchy and weird. So I'll have to fix that. But you can sort of see, and it's a little hard to tell because I've had screen space ambient occlusion on the whole time, but it just adds a little bit of kind of solidness to stuff, where two things clip into each other, and when they connect, it adds a little shadow, and it really, really works. And it helps. So that's a big one. Next big one, next easy one really, is the edge highlight. So this one I put on with the screen blending mode, and you can see it's a little intense right now. So I'll turn the opacity way down to like 20, maybe 30, 25, 30. We'll do 30 for now. And I save that. You can see still a little bit flat when I click it. And now in some places where we don't want it, but in everywhere else where we do want it, we get a little bit of nice highlighting on the edges, and that just makes it pop really nicely. This is a big new part of the technique because it means like I don't have to go through and manually detail and do all this extra crap on these. It just kind of already gets that nice pop. So you can really kind of get a lot of stuff just totally free from that, which rules. Which is awesome. So that's totally free with that edge highlight. There's some stuff, so I will go in later and like change things. I don't really want it to be that strong up on the roof here because it's not actually an edge. So I'll jump in here and just kind of erase stuff. In fact, I'm here anyway. Let's do that now. So let's rasterize the layer first. First things first, I will delete the shadow on the wheel there. The axle I'll keep because the axle doesn't actually spin, but that's really the worst spot I've found for that. Now edge highlight, I'll do the same thing, rasterize, and it was up here. I really just kind of want to take this stuff and I'll shuffle it over. Actually, let me make sure my UV. Yeah, that's good. So I'm gonna take that and I'll just shuffle it all over and blank out my blank out this extra highlight that I didn't want. I'm holding down Alt and clicking and dragging the selection as well to just inside a layer. I'm just copying a chunk of pixels. So that's good. Now I can save it. And there we go. Perfect. So you can see the highlight ends right where it's supposed to. I've fixed the shadows on the wheels, and everything just kind of, again, has this sense of place connecting it all together. Or sense of placement and physicality. So the Dirt Crevices bake is a fun one. That's right, that's all gray. So the first thing I'm going to do, as always, no, I'm not going to. Actually, I will do that, but later. So, Dirt Crevices. I don't want dirt appearing where it's transparent, so I'll rasterize it, and I'll paint everything else black. And then, I have a texture library of textures I've pulled from textures.com. I'm going to grab rust. I have this sort of rusty texture that I can pull in. Now, I'm not going to actually make this subway like really rusty. Don't worry about that. But just using a little bit of rust, I'm going to rasterize this as well so I can duplicate it 4 times really easily. 512 and 1024. Great. So I've got this rust texture, and now I can grab my Dirt Crevice bake. I can Control A, copy it, hide it, go here, create a layer mask, and now if I Alt click, I can paste the Dirt Crevice bake straight into the layer mask. And if I go back out, you can now see, yikes, this car has seen better days. But it's only in the crevices, which is awesome. So this is exactly what I want to be kind of this grunge grime in areas that would be hard to clean. Obviously this is too much. So come on in here. You can really pull down the opacity. You can change its blending mode to do something that just like kind of darkens it or adds a little bit of shading. I'll turn the opacity back up so you can see kind of what these different ones do. So these I don't really have like a hard and fast rule for, because really I just kind of do what ends up looking and feeling most right. So like multiply here gives me a nice sort of thing, where it's a little noisy, a little dark, but I think it makes it too close to the UV, or to the AO UV, geez. So like lighten I think would work really nicely, and I can turn it up, I can turn it way down, and give it this really subtle kind of grunge There we go. Now this looks like an old subway car. So it works really well. And that's the rust. So I used a rust one for, oops, a little slow. Use a rust one for that. And then I have texture library, dirt. So I've got a couple dirts. It's just like generic sort of soil. It looks very similar to the rust, but it's a little different. You can see some kind of soilier details in there. And this is just kind of a dirt that's flung onto the car. So that's why it's on the dirt fling or dirt catch map. I used to call it a dirt fling, but that was actually wrong because it's where the dirt was caught, not where the dirt was flung. So I'm gonna do the same exact thing. I also stack. So one part that I do carefully is I will stack stuff where it needs to be. I guess in the order of things is like at the bottom is the rust, is like the older kind of crevice dirt that's not really like that's like really deep in there. Then on top of that is the like the soil, the current dirt. Then on top of that is the is like the edge highlight stuff. So it's like where dirt might have scraped off and kind of a slight reflection almost. And you can see here now this is that dirt mask applied. You can see again it just grunges up the right sort of stuff on the car. And there we go. So now this is a little too dirty, but I'll tone it down. But at the very top is the shadows, because shadows are always cast right on top. Check this. Are any that make it just like a little darker? Yeah, so I use vivid light. That's pretty good. Hard mix. Hard mix is also pretty good. There we go. So now it's just kind of adding a darker color. And I can turn it down a little bit because I just want it to be some. And just like that, I have so much detail added to it. It's really handy. Some stuff's weird. The vivid light did not play well down there. Yeah, it did not play well on the lighter stuff. So, the hard mix. There, I'll do that. And that should hopefully clean it up. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So, like, it's coming along. And that's awesome. Yeah. So I've done some sunken detail already. I'm going to go back to the detail now, because that's the weathering. And you can see just with those 4 bakes, so with no manual weathering at all, just 4 automatic bakes, I went from this super flat thing to this, which has so much more depth. And that's with nothing else. That's with no manual work, which is awesome. So I've got a few pictures now of the independent subway fleet. Thank God I've got this picture of the roof. Good, so it's just a ton of bolts. Just an absolute ton of bolts as we pass 10:15. Just gonna check again. Cool. Do I make variations of the same train like one with extra grime, or use one texture for realism? I just use one texture. It saves game resources, which are pretty important. So yeah, I'll just use one. This here is the bottom of the wheel, which I want to make sure does not get any shading or anything, because since the wheels turn, you don't really want lots of shading. So my base wheel thing has some grime already applied to it to be a little grayer than anything else. I could add some brown back in. But yeah, that's how this is turning out. So, sunken detail. Now we're doing that real quick. I'm just going to add the anti-climber little ribs, which are really easy. Oh, that was the end of the playlist. Time to start it over. Mountain Blue. I'm surprised you're still Mountain Blue here. All right, so Sunken Detail. There we go. So that's just a little small detail to include there. There we go. And now the anti-climber is done and looking sharp. Cool. What's the surface? It's like a brownish diamond plate looking thing. Neat. In particular, man, it really takes care of the trucks for you, those bakes. Really useful. I don't care, New York Times. I don't need those alerts. Ugh. Anyway, what train do I plan to make next? I'll be going back to Presidio Bay stuff. God, this music is whack. I'll be going back to Presidio Bay stuff, so you will see probably something cool and historic. Just did these for Presidio Bay, fully textured and everything. I need to import them with another paint scheme next. But yeah, beyond that, I think probably some steam locomotive or something for Presidio Bay. Whew. All right, 10:15. We're good. Sunken Detail is good. We can do some window frames and things. So, like I do Sunken Detail, I also do some raised detail. And that's basically the same. So if you're here for that part, I just set, I'm really doing so much of this as painting a grayscale, inner glow, a grayscale height map with some glows and shadows. So something that's raised gets a drop shadow and an inner glow. And again, I keep all the shadows kind of, everything a little low key here, and always really tight. So like 2-3 pixels, maybe 1. I'll do 3 for now, but it's not going to line up. Drop shadow. Yeah, so I actually want to do, I think just 1 for this. So 1 single pixel here. All right, this music is not doing it for me. How would these both be from the same playlist? I'm so confused. So you can see here, we've got like a plate across the top and the bottom of the windows. And then it looks like that's raised up nicely. So that will be what we can trace out. So with a grayscale height map texture using overlay, overlay blend mode, it lets me really kind of, I'm painting my normal map right now, basically. So all of these details will be respected on the normal map that I'll do later. Because that starts its life as a grayscale height map. And then Photoshop can actually natively convert a grayscale height map to a, sorry, I'm blanking as I try to get this to perfect middle gray. It can convert a grayscale height map to a normal map. So, you know, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Oh, that's why. Also, I only want this to be 3 pixels, so I'm just gonna delete that. Raise detail. I forgot to scale down my inner glow. It's now at 7 pixels when it should be like 1 pixel. Yeah. There we go. So that'll add a little definition. Oh, that's why it's also soft. Hang on. My, don't do that. Reload. There we go. Much crisper. I've got a very old graphics card that's kicking my ass lately, so I've ordered a new temporary one until I can get a 3080. Which, who knows when that will be. Yeah, who knows. Reference. So we got those two. That's right. We wanted to do one for up here on the top. It's really, my reference is kind of leaving me lukewarm at the moment, so that's good. Oh, that's a different shape than I have it. I should consider changing that. But then I have to redo my bakes, which I'd rather not do, so this is where my baking workflow starts to get annoying, when I screw it up, or I screw up a different part of the model and I have to be like, okay, great, I'll have to do another half hour of bakes to get that fixed. This is that component here. So I'll do that, and I'll do this, and done, and save. There we go. So we got our nice raised section there. Now on the sides of the cars, looks like we got a raised line below the windows and a raised line above the, actually not smooth. We've got these like rain blockers above the doors, which is a cool detail not to miss. So that's all doable. Reference even has, I know it has that line. This seems a little more raised than that. So because it's more raised, it gets lighter up on the thing. So it's super useful, that little tool. I'll do that. 3 pixels seems like a good radius. Yeah, it's a little too much, so just 2 pixels. Because I can't quite tell in that photo. Can't quite tell in that photo. Can't quite tell in this photo. Ugh. It's always so hard. God. I'm falling asleep. R9s. Yes. Yes. That's what I was looking for. I don't care about you. This is what I was looking for. So these windows, they're really deeply sunken in. All right, so I'll hit that with Sunken Detail. Great. Great, great, great. We're working on this. So this is raised, and it goes not quite door frame to door frame. For whatever reason, it stops short. So, and it stops short, and even though it looks curved there, it stops short and stops square. So let's get out of rounded rectangle mode, and we'll do it like this. 1 pixel beyond the line every time. Or really, I shouldn't be doing it off that. I should be doing it off this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, this is so subtle, though. Why did this get? Am I doing something wrong here? Oh, I am. I set the opacity super low. I'm like, why isn't this working? There we go. That's more like it, and in fact is too strong, and I'm gonna have to turn it down. Damn it. So let's do 55. 55 brightness. So barely over half. This will barely light up, but the bright little highlight on the edge, and because it'll be normaled up at all, it'll catch the sun in the game just slightly. But that's kind of exactly what I want with this. Whoops. Whoops. Not interested in transferring. Admire all the research and guesstimation. Yeah, it takes a lot. I mean, one awesome thing, I work from plans almost always, but the quality of the plans is dubious. Hell, this asset being a good example. The real car, I'm pretty sure this section and this section are the same width. Not so incredibly far off from each other. But this is perfectly accurate to the plans I was using. So, who's right? We may never know. That's 6 from the edge. Awesome. So that one works, at least. I'm also not used to working with like a crazy 4x1 texture like this. 4, 5, 6. Cool. So you can turn that off, save it, check again. Nice, we got our little side beam here. It's a little weird looking. I'm not 100% sure this like raised, call this raised panel, or raised plate detail. Because I'm not 100% sure I like how it's turning out. I definitely want to include it, but I think that it's kind of highlight and shadow is a little strong. Because these are essentially flat on the side and they don't actually pick up that much light. So you can see it's this thing. Good. Well, now that I made that not raised detail, we need to actually go and like copy layer style, paste layer style. And of course now this is for like seriously raised, serious detail. So we'll do a bigger, darker shadow and everything there. And we'll go a little brighter for this because we're doing our little roof, little window, Jesus. The door, rain guards, I think is probably what you'd call them. So these will look really good when they're normaled out. And I'll put them here. So centered up on the UV line. All in the raised detail layer. Centered up on the UV line. Save. And perfect. So that'll be good there. One important thing that I have not yet done are the window frame or door frame. So it's this door frame arch. So these don't exist, I think is the best way to put it. This flat plate piece here needs to be alpha'd away almost entirely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do 9 pixel radius, and I want to do this with pure black, please. Actually, there's one place where I'll use pure black is for alpha map stuff. So if I do that, hopefully we can see the magic of my idea here. So this is a hole. Literally, it's like a hole cut in the side of the train car. Of course, that's you know. I'm assuming that distance is inconsistent by 1 pixel for a rounding error. You got to figure out which place to put the UV line, and I'm sure it's just one of those things where it's just so close. Yeah, if there's only one that's slightly wider, you know, that doesn't necessarily help me trying to alpha these away, but it's something. So I'm gonna do door frame arch holes, and now I want to outer glow them enough to try to match the door frame. I should not be doing it from that zoomed out, but I want to try to do this to match the door frame glow, outer glow, to I think just increase its opacity some. There we go. Because with the exception of that, so details, livery, whatever, livery can go away. Base, color relay. Oof, you can see my, oh my god, this hurts my eyes. My eyes. so bright for 1030. Base underbody, it's fine. We just need this alpha base. Details. All I need is this arch hole. So that's all I'm alpha-ing away right now. Clear layer style. Alright, so if I do that, what's white stays, what's black goes away. R9A. So, now stay with me. You can see I've now textured black. So what's black, when I add the my alpha map here on Blinn 1, when I go back to my R9, because I've exported the alpha, so I do this, bump null, transparency, the whole card disappears and looks like crap because I need to set my thing to alpha cut. There we go. So there we go. So now without using a single triangle, I've cut away that in a perfect arch. And it looks awesome. Not to toot my own horn, but with such a simple mesh, you know, from here you can't even tell. The AO is a little off. I'll probably rebake the AO later just to brighten up the top of the door because it makes it look really deeply inset. And of course, in Maya, the shine still gets picked up off the alpha away face, but in game it doesn't because it's calculated before the reflection. So that rules. Let me just save this again. And there you go. Now I've even have the glow continue almost seamlessly from the edge. And that uses no extra triangles. So I'm super proud of that. I'm super happy to have kind of worked with that and come up with it. Because it looks so good. Like that really is kind of an awesome, I don't want to say finishing touch because I'm not close to done yet, but it's an awesome touch to have. So yeah, I'm proud of that one. Can you tell? So I got Sunken Detail already. I'm going to copy its layer style. Make a new one. I'm going to paste Sunken Detail's layer style. So this is lower window frames. If I look at my reference here, you see the lower window is pushed back in and it's got this like lighter kind of chunk on the bottom. Upper window is still sunken in, but not by that much. So let's pick a nice kind of dark tint and let's get to painting my window frames. Do these go all the way to the... Yeah, they do. Cool. So I'm fine with that. Lower window frames are this nice, rich, dark shade. I'm actually gonna do that. If I do them over the windows, how do they look? I prefer them above. I'm still here. This is my third stream of the day. I've taken some breaks. I've done a lot of streaming today, but I'm trying to do the asset creation speed run. I want to see if I can get how much of this I can get in a day. I think I'm giving up officially. I think you're hearing me right now, giving up on doing the whole thing today, because I do not want to have to deal with the asset editor today. It's too late for that. It's too late to start up dealing with the asset editor, and I still have a long way to go on the texture. I've got to do the texture conversions, but I'm hoping to get most of the diffuse texture done today. Still got to do the LOD. The LOD gets its own bakes. It's rough. We got some doing. There's still some doing left. I would like to duplicate this layer now. Duplicate layer. Upper window frames. That's good. Now I'd like to shift it all up. Let's do that. Copy 1 pixel down. Good. Normal. Good. Delete that one. Need to darken my thing. Off, color overlay, a little bit darker gray. The old one was 35, this one will be 25, so 10% darker, a little more pressed in. We can now rasterize this layer style. Copy this layer style. Paste it. Get that overlay. All right, good. So we've got our, wait. Shoot, I want those to be lighter, not darker. Rasterize style. Paste layer style. There we go. Brighter. Excellent. Save. Awesome. So we got our windows a little nicer. Kind of nice inset. Yeah, this is Maya. This is Autodesk Maya. Even if you don't deal with the asset creation, it's a great workshop to see how asset creation works for those who might want to try it. Yeah. Do I plan on doing any plane assets by the end of the year? Is it mostly stuff for Presidio Bay? I do want to do some plane stuff. In fact, let me save this real quick. Recent files. Is it still in here? Yeah. I started this earlier in the summer, and I'm happy with it, and I'd like to get back to it at some point. First one for the international pack. It's a 767. Just needs engines, some wing detail, but the main mesh is all done. This is the 400 ER, so it's got the blended winglets. Anyway, yeah, I want to get back. I want to try to release one more planes pack this year. Don't save. I'm still working on this. Is still called my 2020 revamp. Or sorry, the 2018 revamp for the planes, which I know we're a long way from 2018. Cool. So trying to stay focused now. Sunken Detail is useful. Line tool. A few more sunken things to do. Largely, this is a spring that could use some Sunken Detail. So, Sunken Detail, the way I do it, really useful for stuff like springs too. Because I can just basically texture on. I can texture on this like spring-looking, spring-esque, so it's spring-ass detail. This like spring-looking detail. I don't know why I would delete that yet. Right in Sunken Detail, and it'll actually really kind of come together. You can sort of see when I get painting kind of this, I want to say minimal level because it's still definitely something, but this like lesser level of detail than I used to, but you can really sort of see things start to all come together with the bakes, with everything else, and I think it's just elevated the quality. It's made my assets easier to make, and it's elevated their quality, I think, pretty tremendously. Look at that, you get some nice detail in there. Can I translate Maya techniques to Blender? Absolutely you can. You definitely can. Excuse me. A lot of 3D techniques are very translatable between the two. So we're good there. The leaf spring could use some Sunken Detail here. Do it as rectangles. So this whole thing is 28 pixels wide on the inside. So if I do little 4 pixel gaps, it means 8. And no, I can't do those because that means I've got 20, which I have to divide by 3. If I do 3 pixel gaps, it means I've got 2 gaps, 22, which I have to divide by 3 is also not going to work. that, and we'll do 8 across. Okay, we'll do 6 across there, and do that. Great. That's my leaf spring. Okay, you can be really kind of slick and minimal with some detailing, and it still turns out. So I'm going to do that for those, and now I have raised detail. Actually, I think I might want raised plate detail because it's much subtler to do sort of additional patterning on the leaf spring. So lots of nice patterns in leaf spring. You can see almost all of the detail that I'm doing and painting on here is all set up for like multicolored backgrounds and things. So that was one thing I learned, particularly with the first Plains pack, is overlay techniques and ways. Yeah, look at that. Look at that leaf spring detail in there. That's beautiful. That's really turned out in there. How many hours am I in now? 2 hours into texturing. I think it was 2 hours and 45 minutes or so into the UV layout, and then 3 hours and 45 minutes or so into this. So this is probably 10 hours so far in total. Maybe a little less. My math is a little faulty there. Maybe 8 to 10 hours. GIMP could be a good substitute for Photoshop. Yes, it can be. Absolutely, you can use GIMP. If you want to. It's a good piece of software. I like Photoshop and Maya because I have experience with them and training with them, but they're expensive as hell. I totally understand looking for an alternative. I don't want that. Of course, we're Hollow Brighton Beach. A big scrape. Yikes. This would have been a good thing to see. This was like the compressor detail I was looking for and didn't include. Any other big raised plates on the side? Not really. I gotta do headlights. I'm waffling on the headlights and I'm putting them off because I think I might want to model them. Is this technically part of my MTA job, or is it for the more important CS stuff? This is just for CS. As always with all my models and things, I just use what's publicly available. I do not bring work stuff into CS models. So publicly available arrangement diagrams and photos. I am probably going to donate this model in some form to the Transit Museum at the end, which I think I can still do, even though I brought in a student licensed Maya thing to help do some baking. Yeah. So we'll see. I'll probably I've been wanting to try to help the Transit Museum set up like a virtual museum sort of thing with little 3D models of different cars, but obviously I don't really have. This is my first car that I've done that's in their museum fleet, so I hope they'll be interested. We'll see. Let's do some bolts or rivets. So looking at these rivets, we've got vertical columns, we've got paired verticals by the doors, paired verticals between the windows, single verticals there. We got lots of rivets to do. We have lots of rivets to do. Guess how I'm gonna do them? It's the same way I do all the other raised detail stuff. A nice texture set to overlay. Oops. Okay, I'm going to be a little brighter than that, I think. There we go. So rivets, good. I want to do a drop shadow, really tight drop shadow on this. 1 pixel drop shadow on every rivet. Inner glow, yikes. 1 pixel inner glow. It's really dull. It's already a little brighter, and I'm going to be painting so many rivets on this damn thing. Some of them are smaller, and some of them seem huge to me. Where's that other Wikimedia image? Yeah, this. So yeah, the middle part is bigger. The base part is bigger. And all the others are smaller. So maybe I'll do 2x2s for those, which is definitely a big bolt. And it's definitely not twice as large, but not much you can do with these dimensions. That's too big. And they are in line with each other. Yeah. All right. Everything's going to be 1 by 1. How much we got? Like 2 or 3 times the width of the ribbon is the gap. I'll do them 3 times the width. Whoops. So that gets me 5 pixels is my pattern. Whoops. That's 4 pixels is my pattern. Shoot. Actually, kind of want to pull these towards each other by 1. Let's see. This is not quite turning out how I'd hoped, but cool. We'll do that. And now I can just kind of awkwardly shuffle it 1 over to get it lined up and see how it's looking. Nice. So we'll do these. These will be the bigger bolts. They're going to be a little brighter, and then I'll do some slightly lesser bolts elsewhere. How do I do it? 1 pixel off. All right, so I got to pick a sacrificial place in the middle to symmetrize this. We'll do it there. I hate being 1 pixel off. It's so hard to pick where to correct it. Oh, God. See, I don't like that. If anything, I'd make it a pixel longer there. Annoyingly. Ugh. Am I sure this is correct? 6 to the line and 6 to the line. Ugh, great. You know what? Screw it. Raised plate. I'm literally, oh no, I'm 2 pixels off. I'm 2 pixels off, that's easier. 2 pixels off, that's a simple fix. Doink. Just shift it left by 1. Good. The normal map can clear up some of this being a little iffy to look at, or iffy stuff near other stuff. That'll be good. Man, this one's really so much longer, huh? But it's 8 pixels longer, it looks like, which is perfect for me because it means it still lines up. Hooray! Awesome. What's a beginner's mistake that's easy to avoid? Biting off more than you can chew. Pick something really small. If you've never done 3D modeling before, don't start with the City Skylines asset. Like, look up tutorials, look up kind of classes even, techniques, things that start with, like, I always say model your, like, a pencil on your desk first, or something that you can see and touch and turn. I've seen a lot of people who are like, I want to do my first model. It's, you know, my local airport control tower, which, good luck. All power to you if you can do that. It's a cool thing, and if you're interested in it and passionate about it, then you can absolutely give it a great shot. But I'll absolutely say the easiest and first mistake that everybody makes is being like, ooh, I love this thing. I'm going to make it. And it's, you know, I want to make I've never 3D modeled before, but I would like to make the Titanic or something incredibly difficult to do. And that's a lot of people's first mistake, and then it's their last time modeling as well, because they burn out hard, which, fair enough. If you want to try to do something like that, burning out is absolutely a risk. And yeah, it's hard to do. I actually don't want to do that. So I'm going to keep the same rivet pattern. Oops. Should be good. Do it right up to the door frame there. And we're now doing this lower band, which has some bigger gaps in it that we will get to take care of soon too. Start simple and small. Yep, that's really it. And don't be frustrated if you make something and it doesn't look like your favorite creator made it, your favorite City Skylines creator. This takes time, it takes expertise, it takes some pretty unfortunately expensive software too. I always hate, like, I mean, it doesn't need to take that, but like really useful tools and plugins and things. In the Blender world, they're frequently free, so maybe this is just me being salty about Maya being so expensive to run and manage. But you just need to be careful about what your expectations are. Really, it's like videos too. A lot of people will be like, I want to start a whole series. I want to be building Chicago, all of it, top to bottom, the entire thing, scale to scale. I want to do, you know, episodes every other day and just go crazy with it. I'm like, all right, good luck. That takes time. That takes money. Ooh, awesome. You can do the same rivet pattern above the window line once this is set up. Oops, I don't want those. So really the rivets are going to be what makes this thing pop. We got a lot of rivets to put on here, but they're worth it, I would say. I would say the rivets are worth it. Maya's expensive, bitch. Yeah, no, Maya's rough. I don't know a better option though. Like, that's sort of a defeatist kind of way to think about it, but Maya's expensive and hard, but what it can do is unbelievable. And, you know, for better or for worse, it's what's out there. And it's really, really good at doing what it does. Okay, so it's directly in line with the last one. So this is where bolts start to get very annoying, because I didn't keep things all in line with each other when I should have. Damn it, I should have. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cheat. I thought that this plate was a little wide anyway, so I can grab my raised plate detail. I can trim it by a pixel. I say this is cheating. This is not cheating. Rivets. Top row of rivets is going to be raised by 1. There you go. So now they're all square. That's useful. Bottom row rivets, I'm going to delete. Which, why are you deleting it? You just laid it down. I know. This is why modern stuff is so much easier. Right above the door frame line, right? No, it's actually below. Okay, really what I want to do is count. Make sure it's a multiple of 4 below. 54 is not, 56 is. Because now the pattern will line up, and I can really get to start being smart about this instead of being so stupid. Here's what it says, you'll be fine. Yeah, you will definitely feel like you've been punched, but like, I kind of don't know a piece of software that I use on a regular basis where that's not true. which is a little crazy. You feel like we'd be able to make software that doesn't make you feel like that by now. You know, just the world would have gotten good enough at software for that. But like, that seems to be a hallmark of professional software, is that it just sucks in a lot of ways, and everybody who uses it knows that it sucks in a lot of ways, and can't do anything about it. Which is wild. Right? We should be better at that by now, as a species. But like, for better or for worse, Autodesk Maya is a piece of professional software. And that means it has all the awful, terrible parts of professional software. Licensed servers and, you know, tremendous expense and all this crap. It's not gonna work. Not enough rivets yet to do that. Actually, I don't know how these continue up and across, because they're pretty regular. Okay, so once we get to the roof, the rivet pattern is very regular. Seems like it might shift there. Luckily, my reference has the pattern that it'll take on the roof, which is good. But now we also have a pattern of rivets that will work here, because there's some above the window. There's one directly above the window line, and there's one directly above the door line, which is what I want. Directly above the window line, I can do. And there's one directly above the door line, which we'll put. Unfortunately, we can't quite do it. With a gap of 3 between. So we'll do that one as the one directly above the door line. And now, sort of need to hope that this will line up across the doors. Because this is what we gotta go with. So actually, first we can do that, and then that. Yes, look at those rivets going in. It's looking great. Beautiful. Make sure I place all. Yeah, I don't want to accept the rivet counters. I remember back in the day, I literally went and said, I don't think I'll ever be somebody who will go to a City Skylines asset and place every single bolt and rivet. And now look at me. 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. Going on my, like, several hours of streaming how to make this damn thing. Oh yes, not lined up. Oh yeah, off by 1. Okay, solvable. Solvable. Is it solvable? Yeah, it's solvable. I'm just gonna. So, these guys get a second to reinforce that, and then we get 2 between all these windows, right? Ugh, some lag. 8 p.m. USP on the West Coast. Okay, cool. So we actually go, so the door frame edge ones have kind of a gap, and they're tucked pretty closely to the insides of these windows, which is pretty cool. And then we've got 2 with no gap tucked really closely to the insides of these windows. So we'll actually do that here. And we'll do this one with no gap. So I'm not actually necessarily spacing these things perfectly. They're approximate. But I'm interested in trying to get it right. So 2 with a gap, and the inner one is pretty close to the window. Yep. That's it. And underneath, just vertical until we get to that big section towards the bottom. Slightly off-centered there, but there's not a lot I can do about that. Nice. So that's a full window chunk. Nice and riveted up. And I believe this one, it won't quite fit in because the windows are slightly different. No, it's just because the rivets are slightly different and would need to be extended. And this one, it should fit in. Yeah, perfect. So that's something over here. That picture, I think we can see the roll sign. Yeah, good. It's the same. Hooray! Awesome. That's right. So now I also need to grab this. And there's a row of rivets right above the window line. So we'll just do that. And now I think this whole chunk of rivets is done on one section. Just need to translate it to the slightly wider middle piece because the blueprint was all screwy. So I'm actually just going to delete all those. Really take the easy way here and drag this because I know my windows are good. I think my windows are good. There we go. Interesting. Watching Assassin's Creed has been riveting. Boo! Alright, so now you have to stretch by one. Just stretch it there. Totally arbitrarily. It's fine. It's 1940s engineering. They missed slightly. 1930s engineering, even. We can just say they weren't the most accurate. This is very frustrating, but I'm just gonna do this because it's late. I swear I don't usually take shortcuts like that. I don't know. That's mostly true. Mostly that's true. Good though. We've got the rivets. They're looking damn good. Reload them. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. They're looking so good. They're looking so good. Just a few more to do on the end here, and we'll be even better. Here on Late Night Asset Creation with me. Really all day asset creation. Jesus. Width negative. So that will have flipped it. Confirm the transformation. So I'm gonna move the window. Turns out, which is not the most centered object in the world. Oh God, sorry. One towards the front. Upper windows. Slightly towards the front. Upper window frames. Same story. Just need to use those to frame the windows perfectly. Lower window frames. Same story. Great. So now really all I need to do for this section is to bridge the rivet gap here above the door. Now how did that happen? Oh, that's how that happened. Okay, so now it's 2 off. This end one is 2 off. It's actually easy enough to fix because I can stretch by 1 there, 2 from the end, and I can stretch 1 here, 2 from the end. There we go. Now I'll just grab a chunk in the middle and make sure that we stay lined up, which of course we do. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So our sides are now nicely riveted. Down here on this like skirt, I guess, just a few rivets, not a lot, not as many as I would have thought. So we're very close to having the side completely done. I'm gonna grab the whole row down here, and it seems almost arbitrary what still gets rivets and what didn't. So they seem to kind of collect near the vertical columns, which makes sense. That's the structure of the car. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 3, sometimes they're offset. So this is where I'm going to do some freelance detailing. You get 2, you get none, you get 3 over on that side, you get just 1 extra down there, you get a few symmetrical, you get 2 like that. Awesome. Sorry, I'm wanting to leave too many is my problem. Excellent. So that's that lower row. Nice and random and weird. Cool. Do I save often? No. I should. Thank you for the reminder. What's my worst? Why did I say this pseudo moment? There's a lot of work. I think it was the 440 steam locomotive you've seen in Presidio Bay. I did all the UVing for that, and then Maya crashed. That was a hard one to lose. That was a hard one to lose. UVing is rough. That was a hard one. Anyway. I am saving, I know. I know. It's not my finest habit. I'm getting better at it. I need to finally kind of remove myself of the scourge of importing old student projects, because then I can just set up autosave with Maya, which is nice and fast when you don't have to click the button prompt to say, I know I'm saving the student version. But I'm not using a student version anymore. I'm paying for the damn thing, so. Autodesk needs to shut the hell up. Anyway. Let's do that there. Let's get my thing on. This is the roof of bolts that we're just gonna slap on there real quick and make sure we can center up as best as we can. Awesome, it does center up perfectly. Love it when that happens. Just like that. Look, you can barely see it with the blend, all the shine, but love that detailing. Give me that for the roof. All right, so just have these. No vertical bolts there. We get like a long kind of strake, which is pretty cool. Doors, yeah, I do have to do some detail on the doors. They're very flat and very nothing right now. Maybe that's here. I'll do that real quick because that's easy. Sunken Detail. I even moved my door reference over to my doors. Reference. Yeah, black or something very similar to black. It's good. Rectangle tool. Let me get my UV on. And then you just drag one, where I can assume it's in the middle. And now I will do some measuring. Okay. 16. All right, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now if I move it that way, touch the white, it's 8 and 8. Great. Centered. Awesome. So that's the sunken detail for that. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The little rubber bumpers in the door. Let's grab it. It's 2 pixels wide. Of course, I miss somehow. That's a little too bright for rubber. So I want it to be dark, but I don't want it to be so dark that it knocks out that. That's more like it. Now reference shows the rubber actually goes and gets like nice and wide towards the bottom, which is pretty cool. So I'll do 3 pixels on each side for that. A little bit higher. And now for that. Okay, so it's like here. So I'll do that and that, 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 and then that. Cool. So now I can just color that in. We've got our doors. But wait, you say. The door rubber is inset from the door a little bit, as you can see. Oh no, it's actually popping out. It's raised from the door a little bit, as you can see. So I want to do a little drop shadow. 1, really minor. There we go. That did a lot, actually. The doors are looking really good. Charge closing, yeah. I had to reach in and like yank the doors shut once on this train. On the holiday train last year. Just like it wasn't closing. They're like, uh-oh, we can't. So I just grabbed it and just pulled it shut in front of everybody. Cool. All right, so we got some more rivets for the front of this damn thing. I look like that guy now. More rivets. They really add a lot, but they really take a lot. That's maybe a little dramatic. God. I think we're gonna call it pretty soon. I got work tomorrow, so I gotta get to bed. That's weird. Nice. Don't forget the handles on the door. Those are only on some cars, so I can do them. I'll do them. They look cool. They're on my blueprint, so why not? I'll use the raised plate detail for that. It's very subtle. And that's really what I want. So let me do a rounded rectangle. 9 pixels is too much. Let's do 4. Cool. Reference can go away now. These really just went to here. Rotate. Alright, so I already used Sunken Detail there. Right? Yeah. So, I'm gonna have to get creative. Lower window frames are nice and sunken. It's quite the right shape, and it's too dark. Something a little less substantial. Let me see that picture for the right shape. Okay, they're just sort of blobs inside the blob. Okay, still too dark. That'll work. It's a little dark, but it's a good detail. Hold up. That's right. There we go. Good call. Those look nice. The doors in these cars look so weird. They look so weird with all these weird windows and things. It's very strange. Do you have any stories to tell about movie shoots in the subways at older quiet? No, I'm not on that team, unfortunately. I don't do the any shoots and things in the subways, so or any professional like film shoots and things on the subway. Not me. Let's get the. I think I can try to get the rivets in the front of the car done. So we've got a vertical column. Okay, we kind of box the windows, and then we go across this area that I have a cutout in. And we line the roof, too. So, looks like that side I do. Oh, good, it is symmetrical. Awesome, I'll take symmetry like that. So it's the same. Seems like it's about the same pattern on that. Good. You are not actually located there. This is located down here. So I can grab this and I want to do that. Nice. So that should keep things straight across there. Now I can grab, I think this is the longest section I have convenient. Angle it up. And again, we sort of box it here, 2 gap, 3 gap. That's what I want. Check. Down, down. Now this is the sort of music I can get behind for a long live stream. Okay, we've got one right on the inner edge of the windows that actually goes and connects with this outer pixel, which is pretty cool. Anything else on the front of these? Not really. A little bit on the pantograph gates, but not really. Those intersect the... Okay, so they do. So they run the outside thing to the inside thing. The outside of the plate to the inside of the plate. Not actually quite as I had thought. The other way. I guess that makes sense, because they got to get out of the way for the handles. Cool. Nice. All right, so now we have a row that kind of continues up off the corner of this piece. Ah, that's a little too high up. Whoops. This guy's too high up. So I think all of these can be shifted down 2 pixels. There we go. Now we're talking. That metal plate, raised plate, can be widened by a pixel on each side. Driver looks so done. Yeah, I mean, if you were doing this, I say this with love, but Transit Museum fans, me included, can be a little much at times. Back in February, I spent almost all day on the R42 retirement ride, doing some work with that. That was a long trip. I'll say that. I'll say that much. That's turned out to feel pretty long. Cool. So that's that section of that, and then we'll have it on the outsides of the destination board and right below the marker lights, so a little more horizontals. Let me get my reference back on because we don't have the marker lights nor the destination boards set up yet. I'll just do that here and here. Oops, that's 1 pixel too short. Of course it is. Great. Hate how unoptimized today's Skylines is. Yeah. Do I prefer the current MTA bare metal or the old school green? Neither, actually. I don't really like either. I really like the old striped liveries, the blue and white stripe, the M logo. I really like the the 70s era R46 paint scheme. This guy. This is my favorite. This is when they were still at like Jamaica, but I think that just looks so modern, even compared to how they look now, just all white. I think the stripe is really sharp. I think the black like eye mask is really nice. And I think that painting these all white kind of sucks. Like, you can really tell this is the scheme they were designed for, and it should be respected, because like the roll sign in the window is unconvincing unless it has this mask around it, because it's not quite right. It's not quite the same size. It's unconvincing. So I think this is really nice. I think the stripe here, I think that stripe continued over the roof too, and around and down the side. I think that looks sleek. Yeah, it did. Here's a BV. I'm not gonna do a BVE video, but you can see that. So I like that that scheme a lot. I also like this. I like the two-tone gray in the background here. Miniature Buddy 3. Yeah, I mean, that was a big thing. They were all designed at the same time. The M2s, the M1, the M3, the M1, the R42, R46. They were all designed to be like this new MTA corporate look that we used briefly, and then everybody threw in the garbage because they wanted to do something different. So now, like, Metro North has the blue stripe and like the little diagonals. Long Island Railroad got rid of their stripe and put yellow on the front, but some of them have yellow on the front but a blue stripe. And then the MTA, the New York City Transit, just did all silver, and it's all very confusing. And now new transit equipment has black fronts, except now it has blue fronts. It sucks. It's very confusing. Anyway, roads on the front, nearly done. I want to grab you. And here's how we're going to do the ones right up on the edge. We're going to do that. And then I'm literally just going to grab each of these and move them until they are a pixel or so below the light highlight. Pixel below the highlight. I guess that's what I find most a lot. R211 hype or no? Yes, actually. In fact, I was going to go on a business trip over the summer to Nebraska where they're putting the prototypes together, and I was going to film them for all of you guys. But that got canceled. I'm very excited to see them when they arrive. Mostly for the onboard experience. I don't really care about how they look or anything, but I think especially with what I've heard about them, we're working towards some really good onboard communications things that I think, like, we talk a lot about how the MTA is not really a world standard transit agency anymore, where absolutely that's true. Other people do a lot of stuff a lot better than we do now. But I think this will, I think it has the opportunity at least to silence some haters in terms of the cool stuff that we're checking and trying to make sure it can do, and really help customers and help you guys all as you're riding. So that'll be really exciting. It's gonna happen a lot. We got a nice new hard-ice core design and then abandoned it swiftly. Yeah, that's pretty much right. I mean, I've really kind of fallen in love with like 60s, 70s design recently, just because there's so much like really lovely intention and thought behind it all. And unfortunately, you're totally right that it was really disrespected a lot. If you ever look at the Jamaica Van Wyck subway station, it was built with these beautiful skylights, and the whole design, like the walkway up above suspends you over the platform kind of in line with the skylights, the light comes down, and it just stopped using that. Like, it was really this 60s and 70s design, a lot of it required a lot of specific care that kind of the end of the era with like New York City's municipal bankruptcy, and with a lot of kind of the end of the nice kind of immediate post-war era, not immediate, it's 20 years, but like that sort of era ended and people stopped respecting these designs, and they did not age well. And yeah, Yeah, nice harmonized corporate design. I mean, that was really like the first MTA big grouping that was more or less in line with like the Vignelli signage standardization. Right, Metro North was a recent creation owing to the bankruptcy of Penn Central. Penn Central ran Metro North for a little while, which, yikes. But yeah, it was rough. It was rough. Oh, God. Sorry again. Alright, so it's time to do these air vents, which I'm going to do in the exact same kind of raised and sunken detail style that I do everything in. We'll do it as just pure rectangles, and I'm going to do them slightly small. Vignelli design was not as good as a map. I don't know. We'll disagree on that one. It was different than a map. It's not meant to be a map. And I'm more talking about the design, like the signage, the black. It was actually black text on a white background back then, but you actually are going to get an inner shadow because you're surrounded by. No, you're going to get nothing. So you're surrounded by a brighter thing. But in an attempt to like really clear up wayfinding in particular, 63, how far away is it? 65. 65. Alright, let's drag these at 65s. Let's drag it at 64s actually. We'll see. Old City Hall station is bad from a logistical look. Yeah, exactly. That's a great example. The expense, modern stations are expensive as hell too. Like, you're not going to convince me from the expense point of view. The finishes, by the time you've dug the hole, the finish that you choose on it really doesn't matter, all things considered. But the design for it was rough. Single platform, tight curve. You really can't do that. And so close to the extension later on, it just became useless. Beautiful, but useless. I wish it was easier to go to. The tours and things being the only way to do it is a great income for the Transit Museum, but I wish it was easier. We'll see. Thanks, Giuliani, for that one. Maybe in Bloomberg. I don't know. One of the mayors did not like the fact that it existed. Oh, here's a gap there. 23 to the edge. And on this side, it's going to be longer than 23. 39 to the edge. 23 plus 39. 42. 62. All right, it should be 31 from the edge. And you're 31 now, too. Yep. Great. 31 from the edge. Cool. Sorry, your vent inner, actually. So now, got my vent. You get an overlay, and then you're actually going to get an inner glow, which will help brighten you up. And a drop shadow, which I can have pretty wide and pretty opaque. Cool. So these will be the vents up at the top for ventilation. I don't know why I'm doing these all manually when I could just batch them, because they're all equidistant. That'd be so much faster. I can tell it's late for me. So I've been at this for a while. So forgetting how to do it. Alright, the vents are done. The rivets on the side of the front of the car are done. Oh, those look so good. Alright, so the reason I did those vents, is so I could do the rivets on top of the car. The vertical rivets on the top of the car, which appear to be in line, not with anything on the body of the car, but with the vents. So that's useful. So just shuffle them over by 2. Which is good. I'm like nostalgic almost for some of the sounds on this song, which is a weird description for it, but like I don't have a better one. Oh, interesting. So we're gonna be offset by 2 on this, which is fine. I can make that look intentional. That I can fix, that I can fix. Please spare myself and go to sleep. I can do the rivets. I'll do the rivets and then I'll go to sleep. And then maybe we'll stream tomorrow night, because this is still the asset speed run. This is pretty incredible progress for a day, though. I'm gonna be satisfied with myself with this one. Nobody can stop me from being self-satisfied with one day's worth of work. All right. Alright, I've got my nice rivet grid on the roof. It's really looking good. Haven't you seen me go to the bathroom? No, not since... This stream's been 3 hours, but I took like several hours breaks doing math live on stream. Yeah, right? Much really good design for like 60-70. Neat, I'll take a look at that. Communications graphics. Approximately what time I should stream tomorrow? I have no idea, man. Good question. I don't know. We're getting to a pretty good stopping point, though. The stuff that's left is all, well, all this underbody stuff. So when we say it's almost complete, that's slightly optimistic. Again, I still think it's crazy. This is what it looks like without the texture, without all the baking stuff applied. It's nothing. It looks like nothing without it. It's flat, it's bland. And then, you know, I can throw that stuff back on and it just gives me all that detail just free. It's amazing. It's amazing. So yeah, you know what? I think I'm done for the night. I think I'm gonna call it 3 hours of texturing. Not bad progress for one day. I'm gonna pose them all up as a nice train though, for us to look at, because it's beautiful. It's just so beautiful. This will be 6 cars in game too. Nice 360 feet. Yes. You can smell the wicker seats and the ozone from the motors. It's beautiful. Not bad for one day, right? Not bad for one day. Anyway. Not too much more to go. Just gotta do the trucks, gotta do the underbody, then I gotta do the destination signage and stuff, which I think I'll probably do as a submesh so I can make it dynamic. Oh yeah, and the headlights and things. That's really here. You know what? I want to do them now because I think I'm gonna do them. I'm gonna do them in a different way than you might expect. Let me turn off the livery. Oh, and I have a little more weathering to do, maybe. I don't know. This is why I do do base paint stuff, by the way, is you can really get the nice bare metal look. I'm gonna fill this spot. Actually, this is a better spot for the headlights. They're not that big. Oh, I've got to sneeze. No, I don't. Haha, handled. Handled. Yeah, I just can't stop. I'm trying. We're so close. So close to a spot where I can be like really happy with it. I mean, I am really happy with it, but headlights. Taillights. Headlights, I have color I can grab from this, but not the taillights. Headlight. Duplicate the layer to the R9. Headlight. There it is. Way the hell over here. Stroke. Oh, whoops. I did a stroke. Inner stroke. No, outside. Good. Good, great. Let's keep it as it was. The headlight probably deserves to be a little higher texel density. Headlight copy. Color overlay. Let's get this nice, like, darkish, because they look really dark when they're not on. So these are going to be the lights when they're off. Taillight, headlight, color overlay it. Yeah, that'll work. Just looking at my reference, this has them. Headlights, 2 marker, 2, we got 4. I think these lower lights are red when in use. I've seen them red. I've had to Photoshop them out of red. Yeah, perfect. This is the photo I used too. So top and bottom are red. These 2 are headlights. Cool. Cool. Oh my god, no, please sleep. No, I gotta do it. The way I change things like San Fran to Presidio Bay, New York to Gramercy, and changing company names like Penn Central, Keystone Central, Rising, how GTA does cities. Yeah, it's sort of similar to that, though I wouldn't necessarily say it's inspired by Grand Theft Auto. Really, and this hasn't really come true in Presidio Bay quite yet, but we're doing it because eventually we're going to start combining towns and town names. We were inspired a lot by the map of Watch Dogs 2, which does a really good job at compressing a decent chunk of the Bay Area. But with both Miles and I having lived in the Bay Area, him his whole life, me for a long time, but we were like, that's weird that some towns like San Mateo exists in that game, but is virtually like it's not like, it's really weird. Let me grab, I need Flickr. Gotta find the picture of the low V on Flickr. Not a low V, Jesus. R9. R1 through R9. Something. Category, R9s. Largest images, please. You'll do. Okay, they're pretty flat. I thought they poked out a little farther, but they're pretty flat. I don't know why I thought they were like that wildly shaped. Did my playlist end again? It's really time to be done. It's really time to be done. Please go to sleep. I'll regret it tomorrow morning. No, you can't make me. I must do a train. Not UV. Well, UV afterwards. Give me blend 1. UV. Shell. Oh, yeah, that's right. I need to scale it. Whoops. By 2 in V. There we go. Look at that little light sticker almost. Good. Give me my image plane back for the end of the car. Good. I need you. Which I can't see because I'm looking at the wrong end of the damn train car. That's for future. Yeah, I do. I need to push more pixels. That's exactly right. I'll deal with all the issues this will create tomorrow. That cannot possibly be short-sighted of me. Delete those details. I don't need those. Not right now. Not when I'm here. Not when I'm almost done. For today. That's the crazy thing. I'm like pushing so hard. I'm not even done. There's still so much I gotta do and get working and set up. Great. Positive. See that? I told you. Look how much better this all looks. Now we're adding these marker lights. I really wish there was a way to make this all dynamic in game. 0.692. Great. So I'm looking at like marker lights. I mean, I know I can make the headlights and taillights work, and I plan on it. But like, I'm talking like the local and express marker lights too. So you are the headlight and are the important one. I just had to do this because it gives it so much life. And I wanted to finish this thing when it was lively. I wanted to wrap up when this thing looked lively. Are the headlights in the middle of these boxes? Yes, and they're pretty much the same size and width as it too, so that's good. Get my UV back out. Shell. Slide it over. So these will be replaced on the final mesh. Well, in game they'll be covered with bright ones that glow on which would be cool. Okay, Maya's starting to misbehave too, so I think it's time. Lights, that goes into details. Details gets duplicated and rotated 180 degrees. All right, there we go. See that? That's all I had to do. Add those lights. They add so much, even though they're like textured to make them look off. They add so much. Okay, those are green. Great. This isn't even with the weathering on. There we go. Looking good. I'm gonna tune down the weathering at some point. Maybe I'll do that now. I'm just kidding. No, I say I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I need to do it now. I need to do it now. Yeah, these things should probably be a little less dirty. Just enough to kind of suggest use, but not filth. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I am at a stopping point for today. You know, it would look good with this. No, just kidding. I'm sorry. That's it. 11:51. I can still be in bed before midnight. I promise. With no music, because we've run out of music for the night. Thank you guys all for watching day 1 of the asset creation speedrun. The answer is not quite. I can't quite create an asset this good in a day, but I'm close. I'm close. Shoot, there's one more thing I want to do, though. Crap. I'm doing it real quick. I'm sorry. There's another good cheat for good... Everyone's saying, see ya. I'm not done. There's one more thing. Metals. Are you my metal texture? Okay, okay. Yes. Take this, future me. I'm gonna keep doing this. Rasterize. 512. Everybody's leaving, but it's okay. Sleep, I'm nuts. I know, it's fine. Overlay with the metal texture. It adds so much, I swear. Adjustments. Brightness, contrast. Actually, I don't want brightness, contrast. I want HSL. Hue, saturation, lightness. Saturation to 0. Just on that layer. Brightness a little lower. There we go. Metal. Overlay it. Now we're talking. Just needed a little bit of metal on the overlay. You can barely tell. I shouldn't have done that. On the top you can tell. Just a little extra mottled. Nice detail. Nice color. It's gorgeous. It's turning out so well. I'm so happy with it. I'm still ahead. This is epic. I'm trying. This will be a really good fit for Mars City Walk. I promise. That's not lack of sleep talking. All right. That's it. It's looking great. Thank you all. Oh God, I forgot bolts somewhere. I thought I was done with the rivets. I'm done. I'm done. I'm gonna write it down on a piece of paper here. I'm going to bed. All right, rivets on front, inside corners. And then inside the door frame? No, not on there. No, not there. Just on the inside corners. We're done. I wrote it down. I'm done. All right. Good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.